Nerdy is defined as someone characterized by an obsessive interest in something. Xbox, Marvel, technology, D&D, Lord of the Rings, escape rooms, Pokemon, Funko Pop, Star Wars, PlayStation, comic books, Magic the Gathering, Nintendo, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. All of that is Tech D-Rob, host of the Nerd News Podcast, your source for everything nerdy.
I realize you guys are all nerds.
And this is the Nerd News Podcast.
Welcome to the Nerd News Podcast. I am Tech D-Rob, of course. Strangely lit episode of the Nerd News Podcast simply because it's nighttime when I'm recording this. And you'll honestly only notice that if you're watching the video. So if you listen to the audio, you don't know. Maybe I am probably a little quieter because there's, dogs barking outside and people wandering the streets. So as not to disrupt anyone else, this will be a little bit quieter than usual, potentially. But let's do what we do and get into the quick hits. So, as of today, Death Stranding: The Director's Cut has made its way to Mac and iOS. Now, I've heard nothing but strange things about this game, so I don't know how well it would play on an iOS device, but it is available for those now. Probably similar to the Resident Evil situation, so it's not like, you probably hook a controller up to it and it just plays with a controller. I doubt you could play it with iOS controls. Rugby 24 is out for current and next-gen PlayStation and Xbox, along with PC. That is all today. And then tomorrow on PC, BlazBlue Entropy Effect will be available, along with Song of Nunu, a League of Legends story, which is on current and next-gen PlayStation and Xbox. And then Thursday, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is available for PlayStation consoles and PC. And One Punch Man World is on PC and iOS, along with Android. And then Friday are the big releases. Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash on current and next-gen Xbox and PS and PlayStation, along with Switch and PC. And then Persona 3 Reload on current and next-gen PlayStation, Xbox, along with PC. And Vampire the Masquerade Justice is on PC. But then finally, the much-maligned Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is out on next-gen Xbox and PlayStation, along with PC. Now, in the next part of the Nerd News Podcast, I will tell you all of the just awful things that are happening for this game, Suicide Squad. But we still have a couple other things to go over. So on DVD this week, we have Thanksgiving, if you missed that in theaters, along with Silent Night. Oddly enough, only one of them is about a holiday. I don't think Silent Night's technically about Christmas, but neither here nor there. Wonka is available digitally this week, along with Argyle in theaters this weekend. That is the big release. And with that, we'll take a quick break, and when we return to the Nerd News Podcast, I'll tell you all of the just bad things happening for the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. But we'll go over that next.
At TechD_Rob on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. More Nerd News Podcast next.
Well, here we are, another new year, and you're, again, going to try to lose that weight you've been needing to lose for a long time. Well, here's what you need. You need Calitrin to help, because Calitrin is not a drug. No, not at all. It is natural and effective. It's scientifically proven to help you lose weight and get better sleep. When you buy 3 months supply of Calitrin, you will get 3 months free right now, and consistency is the key with Calitrin. So order it today at acetj.com/weight loss. It's Calitrin.
All guests of the Ace and TJ show stay at the Hyatt-centric Charlotte South Park. Beautiful rooms, incredible dining options. Book your room by calling 980-299-7123. It's the Hyatt-centric Charlotte South Park. The Johnson Group has been cleaning some of Charlotte's most prestigious businesses since 1985. Family owned and operated. Learn more at acetj.com/clean. It's first-class cleaning with the Johnson Group. Attention Charlotte, treat yourself to a delicious meal that's made with fresh, seasonal ingredients and ready in just 20 minutes. Enjoy a fine dining experience without ever leaving your home. Head over to tableandtwine.com.
Currents is Lake Norman's #1 lifestyle magazine. Every month, Currents brings you the latest news on what's happening in the Lake Norman area. They've been serving the Lake Norman community for over 13 years. See the latest issue of Currents now at lncurrents.com.
Winter is here, which means you're just going to stay inside and not do anything fun and exciting, right? No, that is wrong, because this year you're going to go to acetj.com/Gaston and see all of the incredible things that you can do right now in Gaston County. Everything is laid out for you, from things to do, to restaurants, to bars, to shopping, to unique weekend activities. And we'll get you ready for the spring and the summer with a list of all their great festivals. Find all of this and much more at acetj.com/Gaston.
Follow Tech D Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at TechD_Rob. This is the Nerd News Podcast.
Welcome back to the Nerd News Podcast. It is, end of the month, into January, the first month of the year. We're just getting around to some big release video games, which include games like Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. Now, that game is available to you now. Well, it's supposed to be. I can't guarantee that. As of the recording of this, it was still offline for early release people, and those people paid $30 extra to play it, 5 days early? And it was online for an hour, but they had to pull it because when people were playing, it showed that they had already completed the game. So they had to fix that bug, and they had to pull it. And unfortunately, it was unable to be played at the time of this recording. And then all the reviews have been not great for it, and they're not actual reviews because no one was sent review copies of this game. So the video game websites like IGN, Kotaku, ACG on YouTube will have to wait till it's available, then play it and give the review later. So I don't expect good things. I saw a clip of Kevin Conroy's last performance as Batman from the game, and I don't know that I enjoyed the way they used his last performance as Batman. But I'll have to see more of it later. And if the game turns out to be any bit playable, I'll give it a shot. On to other things, though, because that was one of the least exciting things going on. In the category of exciting things, the Daredevil, I think it's called Born Again, there have been video of them shooting this, I guess it's a sequel series to the original Daredevil, sequel series to Echo, sequel series to Hawkeye, to, what's the other one, She-Hulk. I guess the MCU as a whole, but on the street level situations. And the clips I've seen include Matt Murdock, of course, Foggy, Karen, what's his name, Bullseye. I haven't seen the pictures of Bullseye, but I've heard that he's back. I've heard the Punisher's back, and of course Wilson Fisk will be back. He's running for mayor. Spoiler alert for the Echo show, but it's not really much of a spoiler. But they all appear to be in this new show, and the guy who played the character that would turn into Bullseye in the previous Daredevil, he's back to flesh out that role a little bit more. So that's good. Also released, this was officially released, whereas the on-set photos I don't think were official. A new trailer for Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I should have looked up when this is out. Let's see. New Ghostbusters. Movie 2024. Release date. Alright, so that is coming out. Oh, come on. March 22nd. So March 22nd, you can check it out. If you haven't seen the previous one, Afterlife, this one will follow up directly from that. It's called Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, and there's a new trailer out as of the recording of this on Monday that not only shows all the Ghostbusters back together, but there are a couple characters from previous Ghostbuster movies that you will also recognize if you're a Ghostbusters fan in this new trailer. And it's a pretty exciting one. I can't wait to see the movie. Over the weekend, I watched the movie Birdman, which is a 10-year-old movie. But I've been meaning to watch it for a long time, but I enjoyed it a good bit. Michael Keaton is a great actor, of course. There were some parts that I don't quite understand what was going on, but it was a good movie. And I believe it also won Best Picture that year, so very rare that I would say Best Picture thing is actually one of the best pictures, but I think that one was well-deserved. Friday, you can finally get your hands on. I know you've all been clamoring for it. The Apple Vision Pro, the $3,500 VR AR headset. I mean, everybody just wants it. It's hot ticket for $3,500. I'm kidding, of course. If you pay for that, I mean, first of all, I guess good for you for having the extra dough to throw at that, but there are better ways to spend $3,500, even with just Apple products. So I don't see it being worth that much money. But if you really, really want to, it's there for you. Go ahead, go for it. Ultra Wings 2 is a PSVR title that shouldn't be out yet. It was supposed to come out in February. But it is on PSVR 2. And the developer doesn't know how it's out, which is one of the strangest things I've ever heard. So the developer doesn't know if it's something they did or didn't do, or if it's something that PlayStation did or didn't do. But it is available, and they're looking into how. And again, I don't know exactly how that works. If you follow any gaming news, you've probably already heard that Microsoft has cut nearly 2,000 jobs. And the weird part about this is that in doing so, they have been elevated to one of the world's few trillion-dollar companies by cutting. I guess it opens up a whole bunch of capital for them. I don't know exactly how that works, but they may not even be. They may not even coincide with one another. They may just be coincidence. And I don't know. I can't tell you one way or the other. But Microsoft is a trillion-dollar company, and they laid off a bunch of people, which is, unfortunately, with all these mergers, eventually someone becomes redundant, and this was probably a long time in the plan. It just unfortunately happened recently. So yeah, the Pokemon Company. If you listen to the last week's episode, I told you about Pal World, which is a Pokemon with guns game. The Pokemon Company said they're going to look into it and check all the legalities of it. And so I don't think that's the last we'll have heard about that situation, because there are plenty of those on there that are spot on and definitely ripoffs, at least in my opinion. Excuse me. And then one of the last things I want to talk about is I want to call it a gacha game, Gacha. It's one of those games that has a lot of microtransactions, that it's to be good at the game, you have to put a lot of money into it. But there's one of those coming out in February called Love Live, School Idol Festival 2 Miracle Live. Maybe it's Love Live, School Idol Festival 2 Miracle Live. I don't know. But anyway, that launches in February. But the company who made the game has already announced that it will go offline in May, which is a strange strategy. And I was discussing this with some of my friends, that I don't know if it's like, since they already know that they're going to go offline, they can't not release that information, or if it's a situation where they have enough money for it to go this long, and then they're just going to have to cut their losses. Maybe they've already paid for all the stuff through May, and they're just going to try and release the game and get a little bit of money from people. But they have already mentioned that as of May, the ability to purchase things will go offline. So I think they're going to be hard-pressed to get anybody interested in the game. And again, it also could just be like a publicity stunt. They could just be saying this, and then people rush to it and they love it. And then they're like, look, you've put enough money into this that we can keep it going. We're going to go past May. I don't think that's the case, but it very well could be. So who am I to say one way or the other? And there's not much to say yet, but if you're an old school wrestling fan, the allegations against Vince McMahon over the weekend have been just awful, if they're true. And I will say, none of them are too crazy far-fetched, in my opinion, to think that he would not be involved in something like this, considering some of the storylines that he's pushed through WWE over the years. But if this is found to be true, and it seems it's trending towards being true, because he has he himself, I think he did, or maybe they made him, has been removed from the TKO brand, which is the people who bought WWE. And if you have not seen these allegations and you're interested in it, I'm not going to bring them up here because they're just brutal and vile. And I just don't understand how this man has gotten away with this. If allegedly gotten away with this, if they are found to be true. So a lot of crazy stuff going on there. So look it up for yourself if you're interested and you don't already know. It will not be hard to find. Let's put it that way. So anyway, that is the short Nerd News podcast. Again, I apologize for the lighting. I'm just using some green LEDs. I have a white LEDs behind the TV there, and I have the Google page or Google Doc page up front, so it's putting a white light on my face. So I'm sure this lighting is just great for me. I'm sure I look fantastic. But normally this is filmed in the daylight. I couldn't do it in the daylight today, so no natural light to work with. We're working with artificial only. And this is the only place that I would welcome natural daylight. So, you take some, you leave some. I don't know what that means, but it does mean that I'm wrapping this up, and I'll see you next week.
That's it for this week's Nerd News Podcast. Follow TechD Rob on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at TechD_Rob. Subscribe now. More nerd news next week.
When it comes to your money and things like a cash out refi, you hear a lot of stuff these days. Information is flying around, but here's the bottom line. You want someone you can trust. Well, here is someone that we trust. Richard Tekato and the Richard Tekato Companies. We've worked with Richard for years, and you know all the ins and outs, and more importantly, you give everybody options.
That's right. We have a lot of options. This one lady, we just refinanced her house, paid off all of her credit card debts. She even paid her car off. She's saving $1,000 a month. So that really changes her life and her financial well-being.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to make a house payment until 2024. So, there's not a better time to do it is when you need the extra money every month.
They call it cash out, is what we call it in the business.
Cash out.
Cash out.
That's right, cash out.
So it's one free 5-minute phone call right now, 704-800-4719, 704-800-4719, or go to homewithrichard.com. Do it today. You'll be so glad you did. The Richard Tekato Companies. Should you buy? Should you sell? How do I present my house if I do want to sell it? All of those questions can be answered by the experts, and they can take care of you with the Temple team at Keller Williams Realty. The Temple team knows everything there is to know about selling, marketing, and buying houses. So get in touch with them today at acetj.com/Temple team. The Temple team at Keller Williams Realty.
Bradham Brothers offers heating, air, and electrical installation and service that you can trust. Their family business has served thousands of customers with honesty and a smile for over 50 years. Go to bradhambrothers.com to schedule service or a free estimate today. New year, new you. Kickstart your journey to a healthier lifestyle by joining the Gaston County Family YMCA today. Family-friendly fun, expert trainers, and a welcoming community await. Make 2024 your healthiest year yet. Visit GastonYMCA.org for more info.